45 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish we-done whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to 113. 365 Flicks is back with a brand new track. This is Indie Talk. We have an absolute stormer for you, but first of all, my name is Kevin, the pissy ex-video store clerk.
And I am the... What? My head went completely... I've caught your bloody...
You still going with that, are you?
Backermouth.
Right,
I am Chris, the 2017 Floppy Award-winning Bread of the Year and Scottish Whedon whore.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Now, we're going to get into this indie talk in a moment, and before we do that, we've got a little bit of business to do. But, yeah, Chris, this was your baby, so why don't you let the listeners what the interview is that's coming up, and then we'll do the business and get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's coming?
Yeah, well, we are back with Indie Talk, and this time we are speaking to director and writer Rob Schmidt. You will know Rob's work. He is the director of the fantastic, scary as hell, gory as hell Wrong Turn, starring Eliza Dushku, who, you know, we like a bit of Eliza Dushku.
She's your girl.
She's awesome.
She is your girl.
Mm-hmm. Bless her. So Rob has a new project. The project is called Fran K. He is here he's going to be here now in a minute to tell us all about the project. We want you guys to search for this on the Facebooks. We have shared it earlier on. We'll continue to share it. Like the page. Share that page. Share the hell out of it. Help Rob get this thing picked up. It's a pilot that he has finished, and we want to help get it picked up.
Was there ever a point when you were doing that intro and saying Fran K that you had to go Fran K?
No.
Okay, I'll just take that back.
Fine then.
But before we get into the interview, we have got a little bit of business to do. There's a few crowdfunding campaigns on the go from some of our nearest and dearest, so we're going to be bringing them up right now. We want you to go to the Indiegogos or the Kickstarters or the different platforms that these people are doing. On the last episode, I said that the Homeless Ashes crowdfund, which is Mark Zammit on the Indiegogo, was finished in the next few days. Well, it's not. Oh. Because Mark has extended it for another month. He's doing pretty damn well. He's almost halfway to the money that he's after, so he's extended it for another month. And yeah, Homeless Ashes, we can't get behind that movie enough. We really, I mean, all these films that I'm about to talk about, we want to see them made, we want to see them do well. But we've seen stills and we've seen little bits and pieces of Homeless Ashes, and it looks damn fine.
Yep.
So help that out, please. Dave Hastings, our boy, did Sustain and House of Screaming Death, because I forgot to mention that. The last time we did this is crowdfunded for his new movie, which is
You Are My Sunshine.
You Are My Sunshine, my only sunshine.
Off guard, Kev.
Which is sort of a Mamma Mia Walk on Leaf type movie with the song You Are My Sunshine. It's not what it is it? No.
He's going to invent fucking plots for movies.
Oh.
No.
That could be a new segment on the main show.
I hope he do that and it's shit.
Invent plots for other people's movies. Like Tom Payton is making Stairs. It's about a guy who has to use a stair lift. No?
No.
Okay. So
absolutely not.
Dave Hastings is currently crowdfunding for You Are My Sunshine, which is a movie that we really want everyone to get behind. Dave is awesome people. We loved House of the Screaming Death. We can't wait to see Sustain.
Yeah.
And this guy is awesome. So, and he likes Gojira. So, get it done. That's on Indiegogo too. We also have Our Song, which is another, it's a movie about Alzheimer's and dementia from Scott Lias that we want to see get made as well, because you know what it is? We seem to be really into these like dementia movies and Homeless Ashes, these social situations. It's like let's get these movies made. That seems to be our bag right now.
We're passionate guys, Kev.
We are, because also Ethel is crowdfunding.
That's right. I think the other night they were at 10% of the target, which is
10%. How does that work, though? Because they're giving 10% of the budget to a charity, so does that mean they have to give away the whole budget? Or is it 10% of that 10%?
It'd be 10% of the 10%, I would imagine.
Damn.
Damn?
That sounded way funnier in my head.
I'm sure lots of things sound funnier in your head.
So Ethel, a short film, is currently crowdfunding on Indiegogo. Get yourself on there and look for Ethel, a short film. It's already got some amazing stars attached. However, that doesn't necessarily mean the film is a go. They need your help. We want you to give them their help. Give a little, give a lot, and if you can't give anything, well, just share it.
I think like we're turning into Bob Geldof.
No.
No?
No. How dare you? How dare you liken me to that man?
You can grow a beard like his, probably.
I can, but his is shitter than mine, so
yeah.
It's patchier.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only famous because he did one song.
Yeah. To be fair, you're not a prick.
Exactly, yeah. Well. Debatable. But, And I got one more crowdfund, which we never talked about on the last episode, but it was brought to my attention today. Ben Thompson, a young director from up in Edinburgh, is making a movie called The Ghost of Me and You, which is like a sci-fi, looks like a time travel-y short movie. Looks pretty damn cool when you go on and have a look. He's also crowdfunding right now. We want you to have a look at that one because I think this looks extremely interesting. The guy's obviously got a bit of passion towards this and he wants to get his movie made. So help us, help him get the movie made. That was my Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
So that's their pimpage. What about our pimpage, Chris?
Yeah. What about it?
Come on.
I'm not going to do all of it.
Neither am I. You are going to do all of it.
I'm not going to do all of it because you've been going on for like
if you don't do all
half
of it,
an hour now.
If you don't do all of it, how do people know where they can find us?
Because they can find us on the Facebook and the Twitter if they search for 365 Flicks Podcast. And you know what? If they like and share it, they'll get all of the updates and stuff that we share has gotten away from me.
Yep. You were trying so hard to keep that segue flawless.
I was trying. It nearly worked.
Yeah.
Kind of. Not really. You can also look for us on Spotify. Follow us on there. We are also on the iTunes. Don't forget to leave us a cheeky 5-star review. Help us to climb those bloody charts again, because it would be awesome if we did that.
iTunes is a bit of a fickle bitch.
Yeah, it is. But you can also find us on any other third-party podcasting app on your phone or tablet or device or things. Look for us on a few cheeky networks. We are on the Tangiber Network. We are on the Wicked Radio Network. We Geeks are British Home Nerdly.co.uk. Geeks Worldwide. On the Twitters, you can find us on #PodandFamily and #BritPodScene. That's enough of that shit.
Is it just me, or does that get longer every time?
Well, yes, it does, because you keep adding us to things.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop adding us. I might even take us off a few things.
No, don't, because I've got to remember it now.
I'm thinking about dropping.
Rememberize now.
I'm thinking about dropping Wicked Radio, to be fair, because Dev's annoying.
Well, he can't be arsed either, anyway.
He keeps like having swipes at me and stuff.
Do people? Well, fair play. But do people still share stuff to Wicked Radio Network?
I do. Doesn't get us anything. No.
Nah.
But we have a phenomenal interview. Phenomenal. Easy for me to say. Interview.
Well,
coming up.
as listeners, you will hear now in a minute. Kev is a bit of a spacktard at the start of this episode.
Wow.
Well, you were.
Can you say that though?
Well, I did. So
okay.
Well, if you were.
Okay.
What was the matter with you?
I have no idea. I was like.
Or you're just going to edit it so you sound like Wicked Q.
Yep. But the thing is, we had like a list of questions, but really, like the first 4 questions were just like icebreakers, and I just wanted to get into Wrong Turn. So I read the screen, and I went skip it, and then I went into Wrong Turn, and my arse fell out. It's an awesome movie from back in the day. I absolutely loved that movie, and I couldn't wait to talk to him about it.
So you just blew your load, basically.
I blew my load straight away.
Load, right. Okay.
I really hope he's not listening.
Well, he's probably not anymore. He's been bloody rambling on for 10 minutes now.
All right. We shall get into the interview in progress. You pushy bastard.
I didn't know my body was mine until I was dead.
Daddy, what happens when I die? Well, your body stops working.
I like your hair.
Fran, when you can come back when you stop being queer. Okay?
Love you.
Need some money? Get in.
It's a drink down the pub, only we're speaking to someone with a way more interest in life than us.
I don't know that that's true, but right on.
But believe me, you've made movies, you're in the industry, so it is way more interesting than us.
Now, where are you guys? Where am I talking to you at?
Well, we are in a town called Berwick-upon-Tweed. It's on the border with the English border with Scotland.
Where Braveheart 2 would be set.
Exactly.
Yeah. If they made it.
They're going to make that.
Where the first one should have been set, if it was accurate.
Yeah, don't start.
Tonight on Indie Talk, we are joined by Rob Schmidt. Rob is an American film director and writer. His film credits include 2003's horror Wrong Turn, starring the likes of Eliza Dushku and Desmond Harrington. Crime and Punishment in Suburbia is another movie of Rob's, for which he was nominated for the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival. Rob also created a pilot called American Town for 20th Century Fox in 2008. His thriller The Alphabet Killer reunited him with Eliza Dushku again, alongside Martin Donovan, Michael Ironside, as well as some top-level talent like Carrie Elwes and Timothy Hutton. I like Timothy Hutton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But tonight, Rob is here to talk to us about an upcoming TV show, Fran K, starring long-term collaborator Michael Ironside again. How you doing, Rob?
Good, I'm good. It's nice to be talking to you guys. It's nice to be cyber in Scotland.
Yeah, man. Scotland is awesome.
It is awesome.
It is. It's cold. It's cold and windy, but yeah, we love it, kind of.
You'll have your 4 days of summer sometime in July.
Oh, shit, we've had that already.
Instead of 4, we got 1, though. We got one day of summer followed by like 9 like what we call hurricanes, but it was a strong wind.
Yeah,
it wasn't a hurricane; it was a strong wind.
It's a beautiful place. I know you guys are giving it a hard time, but I wish I was there now. Scotland's beautiful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Scotland is, even though I'm English. Yeah. and whereabouts are you based, Rob?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, actually, which is in southern United States.
The land of Walking Dead.
Yes, and Marvel.
And you visit the sets and you get yourself on and have a look.
You know, the last set I visited actually was not Marvel. It was something that I'm really excited about. Haunting of Hill House, the Netflix series.
Ooh, nice.
It's pretty awesome. It looks pretty fantastic. And actually, Tim Hutton's in it. So I don't mean to be plugging someone else's show, but anyway, there's a lot of good stuff going on in Atlanta.
It's Timothy Hutton, though. I'm going to let you off because I'm a big fan, very big fan. So we are going to get into Fran K in a moment, but being a big fan of 2003's Wrong Turn, I'm a big fan, Rob. It's one of those movies that stuck with me for years. It's one of the few scary movies that's actually stuck with me. Can you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into all of this and Wrong Turn came your way?
Yeah, sure. Let me think. I worked as a crew guy. Like I started, my first gig was painting walls for the sets on a Hall & Oates music video.
Nice.
That Daryl Hannah was in it, but I never got to see her. I was just like painting walls, you know. And I kind of came up through crews, and I started working in camera department, and then I started directing, and at the same time I was going to school, and I made a few indie films, and then I really wanted to do a horror film, and Wrong Turn came along, so that was kind of how that all landed. It was complicated to get that movie, and the person who got me Wrong Turn was Stan Winston.
Nice.
He was an awesome dude. He was like amazing.
I noticed he's credited as like producing or something like that. He's not actually. Is it but he did the creature features. But I mean, Stan Winston, that's a legend to bring you into the movie.
Yeah, he died of cancer a few years ago, but which I think I have a hunch it's like kind of I have a hunch it's related to all the chemicals from effects, but who knows? But anyway, he's amazing. Like when you at his shop, you'd go in there and there'd be literally like a third of the characters that you had seen in your life in films, just like sitting around like Jurassic Park and Beetlejuice and like Terminator, and just there'd be all these parts from all these things that were just everywhere,
That must be amazing.
Yeah, it was a trip, man. You guys would flip out. And and he had this crazy office that was super dark, and it had he had like 6 Academy Awards, like just sitting in his office, and, all these pieces that he was sculpting and stuff like that. And he was also Stan Winston was super charming. Like he could have the worst news for you, and you feel good about him telling it to you. Like it's weird. He didn't always have the worst news, but he had enough charm that he could pull that off. Yeah.
He did a fantastic job with the 3 hillbillies as 3 fingers and one hand or 1 claw or something like that, and it just, those 3 are creepy as hell in that movie.
Oh, they are, yeah.
I remember like because when we saw you were coming on, I was looking through and all, I was like, shit, wrong turn. I was like, man, that scared the crap out of me back in. I would have been a kid back then anyway. But that film's scary, man, and those 3 are amazing. Just the Deliverance meets
God knows what.
Yeah.
Hills Have Eyes, I guess it would.
Yeah. Hills Have Eyes, I suppose. Yeah, aye. They are creepy as hell.
Yeah, Shane is Legacy Effects now, and he was Stan's right-hand man, and he did most of the work on those. Actually, Shane was in the Terminator when Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't the Terminator. Shane is the Terminator.
Cool.
Like he's doing puppet stuff as the those, we did a lot of research, like down to collecting photographs of inbreeding mutations and stuff like that. I'm sorry for smiling, but
I know you can't. I wasn't put off by what you were saying, but more the fact that you're smiling when you said it.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, like, you guys are in. I apologize. I thought you're in Scotland. You're in Northern England, and you're in Northern England, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, but in any case, it's more civilized than us over here, and we still have people deep in the woods who inbreed and have mutations. So
we live in a town that's rife with it. So
God. Yeah, I hadn't seen that movie in quite a few years, but I rewatched it after we started speaking the other night, Rob, and oh God, it still holds up.
Oh,
it's really, really freaky as hell. It really is. So good.
And it's got your girl in it.
It has. Yeah.
You're a
bless
big
her.
fan,
I am
aren't
a huge Eliza Dushku fan. She's incredible. Yes. How did that happen? How did she become involved with the project?
Yeah, I'll tell you, but I gotta tell you something first. Is that Eliza is and people say this, and it sounds really cliche, but it's true. Is she is more beautiful in person than she is on film. She has this like weird like magic girl charm, and I met her, and I was sitting across from her at a restaurant, and as she was talking to me, her face kept changing and becoming more and more beautiful, and I was like, I'm falling in love with her. It was like a witch casting a spell on you, So you have that to look forward to. Hopefully at some point you'll meet her in person and that will happen to you.
Oh, I can imagine that. Yeah.
I think Chris would just lose his shit if he met her.
I would, yeah. No, I'm obviously, I first noticed Eliza Dushku when I'm a huge Buffy fan.
Yeah, you're Buffy.
Yeah, but obviously you've got True Calling, Dollhouse. God, she's talented as hell, and we were speaking to producers of a project that she's involved with.
Maplethorpe.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, she's producing that. Yeah. She's also super smart. Like she can do business and she can like be a creative producer, and she's a pretty dynamic gal. She did torture me once on set. Actually, she, I try to rehearse everything ahead of time so that you can move quickly on set. And sometimes it's just super expensive. Like a set day is crazy expensive. On Wrong Turn, we built a forest top inside a stage, and we built that tower that they jump out of. And like what I try to do in rehearsals is get the actors to say all of their lines and make sure they're comfortable with saying them, because you don't want to have that discussion on set when it's costing like $20,000 an hour or something, And that was a stunt scene, and the actors, they never want to like rehearse those because they have to pretend like jump off this chair and pretend it's the top of the forest,
You're talking about jumping out the big nest thing. Now,
yeah.
I remember reading at the time that there was a few injuries came off that set. What can you tell us about some of them? Like, and how, as a director, do you deal with that?
Oh boy. Well, I got to tell you first. At some point during that was super pressurized shooting. It was just like a lot of pressure and a lot was at stake for me and for that movie. And Eliza, at one point during that jumping out of the watchtower scene, she said, "I won't do this line. It's sexist." And it was like, I was like, we talked about this, before, and she was like, we did not talk about this. And I was like, well, what do you want to say? And the thing that she wanted to say didn't work for the story, or I didn't think it worked, or I was too panicked to, and it was a very tense 10 minutes of working that out. But she got her way in it, and the scene worked out. But in any case, that was the only 10 minutes of hell I've ever had with Eliza. But I'll tell you, for that scene, the biggest injury on it was that Manuel Shrieky, they have to jump out of a observation tower that's like 60 feet above trees, and then like the branches are supposed to slow them down till they hit this one big branch that they hold on to.
Yeah.
And she hit the branch too fast, and it dislocated her shoulder from her body, and it made like the most disturbing noise I've heard in my life. Not the most disturbing, but one of the most disturbing noises I've heard in my life. You guys ever heard like a bone get pulled out of a socket?
No, thankfully no.
It's actually that the sound of that is in the movie. Like but it like, yeah, that was like, and she was so amped up from, that's a hard stunt to do, and she was on a decelerator cable, which is one of those things like in Mission Impossible where like he drops, then he stops just before the ground. Only it hadn't. Now, I'd never thought about this before, but actually, I guess maybe the cable didn't decelerate well enough.
Oh God!
It didn't, because there was enough force to pull her arm out of the socket. Yeah, that was, and that shut down the set for an hour, and it shut her down for at least the day. And she was a real trooper about it. And the stunt guys one of them was like a massage therapist, and he like got her shoulder back in the socket, like they're on set, which is also a really grisly thing. You guys should do some Google.
Definitely.
Do some Googling on that. Do you want to hear another like gruesome injury story? Desmond Herring, guy who plays detectives and whatnot now.
Yeah.
We're all a little older, but at that point he was like a young, really good-looking, actor who had been in like Levi's commercials and things like that. Like, look at the most beautiful man wearing Levi's, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we were doing the work where they run away from the cabin, up that hill and into the woods, and it was pretty rough. Like they had that hill was really hard to get up, and a couple of people fell and rolled down that hill. It wasn't a hill; it was like 100 feet of dirt that was at a 50-degree angle with a cliff lip at the top of it. And at some point during that, Desmond was like, I hurt my ankle. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to do this next take of this other thing. And every time I would ask him to do something, he'd be like, my ankle kind of hurts. And like, I was like, this is like a pretty boy who's complaining when he shouldn't be complaining. I didn't say that to him, but that's what I was thinking, And I was just, I'm going to drive this forward. And he was, and by the way, he was a trooper and he was a sweetheart. And he would just, I'd ask him to do stuff and he would do it, And then at the end of the day, the sun was setting, and that's when you're rushing the most because you're going to run out of light. And I was like, Desmond, you got to do this. You got to move a little faster for this take. And he snapped at me and he said, "This is the last one." And I was like, "Are you okay, Desmond?" He was like, "It's just my ankle hurts." And he pulled his pants up, and his ankle was swollen 2 inches out from his sneaker. Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. He had like fucked up his ankle that bad, and he'd been working on it all day because I'd been telling him to. And I'd never seen. Have you guys ever seen that? Like, it was swollen out of his shoe.
I've never seen that, but about maybe 15 years ago, I tore my Achilles tendon, so I can get yeah. Yeah.
He'd been working on that like foot all day, Yeah, that was like I realized I was pushing people too hard at that point. Like,
to be fair, Rob, that's what they're getting paid for, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Well, they're not getting paid for that, but they do that because they're like,
yeah, I know.
The other thing is when they're working, they get amped up. Like if they're committed to it, they get amped up and they don't feel as much pain, which is a weird thing.
Cool.
But you have to look out.
There is actually there's one shot I noticed in the movie where it's Eliza is hiding behind, I think it's like a tanker or something like that, and the camera goes like to the right and then to the left. That shows somebody walking down, and the guy's like blurred out, and it keeps on going back and forward and back and forward. That's a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, John Bartley shot that. He was really awesome.
Yeah, that's just. I was rewatching it the night. I thought, oh, that's so good. That really is. What do you think? Obviously, because there are 5 sequels currently of Wrong Turn. So, what do you think? What's your take of the franchise? Have you seen them all?
You know what? I have not seen them all, and I'll tell you that. I've had to spend a bunch of time processing my feelings about that. Is that what people say? And like I make some money off of those because when they come out, they like re-release Wrong Turn, and then I got some money from that. But and so like in all things considered, like the sequels have been a good thing. But this might be a boring business thing. I don't know if you guys want to hear it.
Go for it. Go for it. It's all
okay. Well, this is like there was a time from about 2001 to 2008 when like DVDs were gigantic, and like people would they'd be like, a DVD is going to be out in 6 weeks, so I'm not going to go to the theater, And the studios were making more on DVDs than they were off of theatrical on a lot of stuff, and they like flat out said that the theatrical for Wrong Turn was an ad for the DVD,
Okay.
Like literally, they were just like, it was at that point. And then Stan and I had deals to make the sequel, Wrong Turn 2, but they were conditional on it having a theatrical release. And someone at Fox, who was good at business, I guess, figured out that they could use the name and make a really cheap straight-to-video one, and they would, still make a lot of money on it. And so they I'll just say it, they cut us out of the sequel. And and that's why that one happened,
Yeah.
And that's that. It was a business thing they did. And it's like those movies are like, they make people happy, and like people hang out with their friends and watch them, and they're really terrible, but you have a good time watching them. And so, like it's kind of like there are some types of movies I just don't understand. Like I know they have audiences and they're like helpful, they help people's lives, but I don't get it. Like a Tyler Perry movie, I can't.
Yeah.
Completely with you there.
But you know what? There are people that love those. They're like, oh, a new Tyler Perry movie. Got to see that.
Yeah, people
you know?
eat that up.
Yeah.
Like, there are people.
Adam Sandler as well.
Yeah.
Just why?
He's making someone money.
He's yeah. Must be. Must be.
So with like the likes of the new Halloween movie coming out, and it's sort of retconning the franchise in a way. If they asked you to come back, or if the situation was right for you to go back and do like a wrong turn, but sort of forget the other ones exist and take over from the original, would you do it?
And get Eliza back.
I would happily get Eliza back. Yeah, you know, I took a big break from filmmaking for a stretch of years, and I just started working again this last couple of years. I love filmmaking, and I would totally do that. I'd do it in a second. It's just I would do it in a second.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll get onto them about that.
We'll have to. We've got connections now. Now this we'll leave Wrong Turn for now, but because this is actually a full-on geek out moment for both of us, actually, because we are both huge fans of the Alphabet Killer movie.
Yeah.
Ha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am too.
Good. You would hope so. Yeah. When I was doing some research earlier on, I looked at the IMDb and I thought, I'm sure I've seen that. And then I watched the trailer. I rewatched the trailer. For oh shit, that movie! Yeah, I love that movie. Absolutely love that movie.
Yeah, I think Eliza has a topless scene in it. Actually, it's not a sex scene, but it
could be why he loved it.
Yeah, probably why.
Obviously, I'm going to edit that bit out.
She's just changing quickly as she leaves in a mental hospital. It's not I should qualify that.
No, it's a great movie. It really, really is. Obviously, it's based on a true story.
Double letter killings.
Yeah. Now, I on a recent episode of the normal 365, rather than Indie Talk, I actually spoke about a documentary that I'd watched about the Golden State Killer.
Huh.
And there's just. It freaked the hell out of me. I won't lie, because it was telling telling about people waking up and he's standing over their beds and all that kind of thing.
Was he the rapist?
He started
murderer, right?
He started off as a rapist. He started off as a burglar, then became a burglar/rapist, then became a burglar/rapist/serial killer.
And am I wrong? Did one, like, some guy at like the cops somewhere had like a public meeting about it, and this guy was like, why would anyone anyone with a gun would like be able to fight him off, or said some crap like that, and then the guy killed his wife, right?
Yeah. That's the one. It was freaky as hell. He's been caught. He was actually caught this year. It's like a 80-year-old man or something like that is now being caught. But yeah, I was just wondering, because obviously it's the Alphabet Killer is based on a true story. So, are there any like other real life cases that you would see yourself making a movie about?
Boy, I do. I read a lot of true crime, and I track a lot of true crime, and I work actually. I do true crime TV. Like I do some shows, Swamp Murders and Dead Silent, and Your Worst Nightmare, and so I spend a lot of time in that arena. I think you're asking me if there are any particularly interesting killings. And
what's your favorite killing? Yeah,
they're all all of those are interesting to me, because someone getting to the point where they will do that to somebody else is super fascinating, and characters being at the point where they are killed is that's one of the greatest extremes of human experience, and so that world is really fascinating to me. I don't know why I sound insane as I'm saying it, but I am really fascinated by that. I'll tell you, once I was interviewing this old cop, and he was being kind of a douchebag, like really braggartly and like acting like this tough old guy, and it was actually on the Alphabet Killer. I was interviewing this guy, retired chief of police, and were talking about seeing bodies, and he was like, it's part of the job. If you can't look at bodies, you can't be a cop. And I was like, well, how does it work if it's particularly ghastly? And he was like, it's just part of the job, and I said, well, what about children? And he went, never look at children, never look at children. And and then he got embarrassed and like left the room.
Oh wow!
Like, I was like, holy shit! Like that guy saw something,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But that world is fascinating to me. In people that are in traumatic situations, I'm for whatever reason fascinated by it.
And it makes for good.
Now you guys are like, he's insane. We should get him off the show. No, I'm joking.
No. We like that kind of thing. So.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh yeah. So let's talk about Fran K.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Now we've both seen the trailer, and Rob, it looks great. It really, really does.
Thanks. So,
tell everyone who's listening, tell everyone a little bit about the premise of the show that you've made.
What Fran K is it's a mashup of the Eileen Wuornos story, the Charlize Theron's movie Monster. Did anyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, so it's that story mashed up with Frankenstein in like a modern day lab, and so it's basically like that character Eileen getting a chance at resurrection, and I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It's about how terrifying it is to die, and it's about it's about being abused so badly that you kill people, and which is like, that's what Eileen Wuornos was, a serial killer, a prostitute who had been really abused. She was queer, and she had been abused really badly as a kid, and then she started, making money by fucking people, and that she ran into a lot of abuse there, and eventually she killed somebody who abused her, and then she figured out that she could kill them instead of having to fuck them, and she started doing that, and then she was captured and executed. She got the death penalty, and she was like a profoundly damaged person who really, like, she was a victim. It's just she had done so much that was bad that people couldn't understand that she was a victim, It's basically a character like that, when she's in prison, agrees to sell her body so there'll be money for her kid. And then the parallel is the story of the lab, like a modern day lab where they're trying to resurrect rats, and as soon as they like get one to like wiggle again, they're immediately like, we want to do this on a human, which is the way science works in America.
Yeah. pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah, for money, and she's the one that they she's the human that they experiment on. That's what it is, you know.
So when you were coming up with the premise of the show and what have you, is this these topics, these subjects, the sort of homophobia and strange relationships with parents and all that kind of thing, was this something that you had on your mind when you were writing it, or did it kind of evolve its way into the story?
Boy, no, I had it in mind when I was writing it, and I wanted to write something about being a parent, and I wanted to write something about being a parent, and I wanted to write something about homophobia and about abuse, and how abuse like echoes through experience, and like when someone gets damaged, they do damage often, and I thought that was really fascinating, actually, that's just generally the way that works, but there's a love story in Fran K too. She has a partner that is actually kind of sweet. They it's the one like innocent, like gentle thing in that show. And you know what else I'll tell you too, that this should have been obvious, but it never occurred to me how ghastly it was. Is here in the States we still execute people, and when a person is getting executed, they, the victims and the loved ones of the killer are allowed to witness the execution, and especially the parents, the moms and dads of the killer, they come to the execution. Like they just generally, and this is in real life, they come to watch, because and the reason they do that, and this is like heartbreaking and pathetic, is because it's the last nice thing they can do for their child. It actually makes me a little teary-eyed. I know you said we're supposed to keep it light, but
no, that's actually, it's quite interesting you mentioned that, because it's something I've always actually wondered if they do actually do that, because you always see it in like the TV shows and in the movies and all that. They sort of show that moment, but I've always kind of wondered, is that just something that they show? Because as you say, it's quite effective as a storytelling device, but yeah, that's mad to realize that it is.
Yeah, I didn't realize until I didn't realize, like, it's, of course they would go, because you know what, if you, like, I have kids, and they are, and actually Stan told me this before I had kids. I think guys don't actually have a choice about whether they have kids or not. The women decide, but
yeah. Big time. I've got 3. I can attest to that.
I was in Stan Winston's office, and I had this delusion that I had a choice about whether I got to have kids or not, and I asked Stan whether it was a good deal to have kids, and he was there with his like 6 Academy Awards and like, a Beetlejuice and a Terminator and all these like props around him, and he said, Rob, my children are the greatest accomplishment of my life. And I was like, okay, this is probably a good thing to do. But the amount of care you have for your kids, like, if one of them was going to die, like, I promise you would go and you would watch and try to make eye contact with them, like you would just do that. And the thing is, you're not going to be able to fix it. Like, those people go there, and then that's like this giant extra tragedy, is that they go there and they see their child die,
Yeah.
We had, when we were having auditions for the mom, I still hadn't really thought about that, and by the end of the second day, I wanted to slip my wrists. It's so brutal. Actress after actress, like, earnestly perform, and almost all of them cried. Almost, like earnestly do this performance of watching their child die.
Oh God!
like, you watch the show, and it's like, that's like 60 seconds of the show, but like, that was literally about 20 hours of auditions.
Oh,
it was, it was pretty brutal.
I think if that had been me, I'd have been like the first person that came in. You've got it.
That'll do. So some serious episodes of Friends or some stand-up comedy that night then.
Yeah.
I don't know. Friends would have depressed me.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, so tell everyone then, where can they see the trailer?
The only place the trailer's posted, well, it's not true. It's posted 2 places, but it's posted on Facebook. If you search Rob Schmidt Film on Facebook, the trailer will come up. And then there's a YouTube. I'm not sure what the YouTube is, but I put it up on YouTube too, but I haven't promoted it on there. And it's literally, it's just, I'm looking it up on YouTube while we're talking. It's just up for sale now. I put the trailer up last Saturday, and it has like 26,000 views now.
Wow,
awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. I was really surprised.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, we shared it earlier on the 365 Facebook page, so we'll continue to do that, because it really does. It looks awesome. It really does.
Cool, man.
So how a lot of people that we speak to mostly like independent producers, directors, and actors and all that. And one thing that we've been finding with all these films right now is that social media is like really, really relevant right now in the movie industry and stuff. So it's like, how are you finding your experience using the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter and everything? How are you finding that, trying to get the word out on Fran K?
Boy, literally, I have like 1 week of experience with it. Like, I don't know if you guys figured this out yet, but I'm not like a great person to show in public. And so, every film I've made has gotten sold, at the market at Cannes and whatnot. And I've never gone to it. I would rather hide behind a camera or be looking at movies than be out in public or marketing. And honestly, when people have tried to get me to fundraise for things,
yeah,
I'm like the worst guy to do that, because I'm like, why would you invest money in this?
Why would you invest money in my passion?
You've got more money than sense.
You're crazy. So I'm just kind of figuring it out now. But like Fran K was made with independent money. It doesn't have there's no company behind it. So I mean, knock on wood, it's going to find a home. But.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be said, with 1 week's worth of experience, to have 26,000 views on YouTube is insane. That's brilliant.
Oh, that's good to hear. Anyway.
No, that's very good to see.
I'll tell you. I was like, when it had 2,000 views, I was excited about that, and my daughter was like, "Hey, my friend Bean has 7,000 views." And I was like, I'm going to kick Bean's ass, like they're 13-year-olds. And then when I got to 7,000 views, I was like, I'm going to call Bean and let her know that I beat her. And then this happened, is I got to about 8,000 views, and I was psyched about that. And then I was just scrolling through, I want to say Facebook, and there's have you seen this? It's a creepy baby on a retaining wall. It's about 8 seconds long. It just pans back and forth across this creepy baby. It had 42 million views.
Oh God! See, that's where the internet sucks.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Although I did find myself watching a video today for 30 minutes of babies that don't like touching grass, and it was quite funny though.
And you watched it for 30 minutes.
Yeah. The parents were lowering the baby to put it on the grass. I'm sorry, I'm tangenting here. And then the legs were straight, and then they were going because it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I'm up against. Is that?
I know. I'm sorry. I know. I shouldn't be talking about that.
No, when we're done, I'm going to go look for that. So.
You totally should. It's hilarious.
It sounds hilarious. Good God. Yeah. So you mentioned you're looking for a home for the pilot. So. What happens there? How do you go about that? Do you just start pitching it to people, or?
Well, I have an agent, Lee Keel at Gersh, and she has it, and I think Blumhouse TV passed on it. They don't want to do. They said they don't. They're not excited about Frankenstein, and I think though that means I can't go and be like, it's not Frankenstein. I think that means they passed.
Right.
We'll see if it finds a home. And there isn't a lot more I can do besides promote it. And I guess the next step will be going to festivals, which I haven't done in years, but I'll do,
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, the more views it gets, the more people who share it, and the more engagement it gets, and all that. That'll certainly help when you're going to companies like Netflix or Amazon or what's the other one over in America? Hulu. Yeah.
Hulu. Yeah.
It'd certainly be awesome if one of those companies went with it, because you can do anything you want with those companies. So. Apparently.
Yeah. What was it? It was on one of the animated shows. Was it I can't remember which one, but there was a scene at reception at Netflix, and the receptionist answers the phone by saying, "Netflix, you're greenlit. Please hold." Netflix, you're greenlit. Please hold.
I think it was a Family Guy. No, it was South Park. Yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but that hasn't happened so far with this, but we'll give it a little time.
Well, one thing that should go massively in your favour when you are shipping it around is you have got an absolute legend in this, and you've worked with him a few times. Michael Ironside, my friend. How did Michael Ironside come to be in this project?
Oh, he's an old buddy of mine. I've done I did Crime and Punishment in Suburbia with him, and Alphabet Killer, and then this, and he's someone. He's have you guys ever met him?
Oh,
he's unfortunately not. No.
Not met him, but my God, that would he is an absolute legend.
He is. Yes.
He's a sweetheart. You know what? Well, this might make you not think that. I was thinking about Alphabet Killer actually earlier today. Someone asked me about it, and I was like, oh my god, you try to cut that movie. I think Alphabet Killer. I appreciate that you like it, and I like it, but the producers were really they were really nice. What happened was they secretly made a cut of the movie that was not mine, and they tested it, and they tested it, and people liked my cut more. And I found out they had done it after they did a test, and at that point they let me do whatever I wanted on the movie, and it's too slow. Like, basically, I got too caught up in, like, if you look at it, like, when it pans off into black, it stays in black too long, and like the scenes are a little slower than they should be, and it's good to have a producer around to make stuff snappy,
Yeah.
But in any case, Michael Ironside, he has a scene in that he's like a chief of police, and a thing that got cut out was there was a lot of footage of him in like leather, like bondage kind of bikini G-string with like pierced nipples, and literally, like, he did that stuff, and he looked really fierce, And now I just literally today, I think for the first time in my life, was like, damn, I wish I had kept that in the movie.
You totally should have.
That's one for the deleted scenes, though. Surely.
Definitely. No, like, he's just like, his movies go too hard ass, isn't he? And I just love a bit of Michael Ironside. I was a Turbo Kid a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And literally, like, as soon as he shows up in that movie, it's like, yeah, this is about to go off. This film is as nuts as it was at the start. This film's just about to get more nuts because Michael Ironside, and you don't know what you're getting with him.
Yeah, he's so great. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's a really solid actor, but there's something about him that you don't know what he's going to say next, I think, He could be, like, talking to you and friendly, and then, tell you that he was going to eat your friend's liver, and you wouldn't like, you know what I mean? And you wouldn't like it, just like, it wouldn't surprise you, really. You'd be troubled, but you'd...
That would make for an interesting night out anyway.
So I take it's a case of you guys just, as a director and as an actor, you just get each other, and you know you can get the best out of him, and he knows that you're going to trust him, and is it just that kind of relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I love him, and he's comfortable to talk to, and he's also, what he is like emotionally available as an actor. Like, you can ask him to do stuff, and he will figure out how to do it so it's good. Like, you can have a bad idea and ask him to do it, and he'll, instead of saying no or that's a bad idea, he'll like figure out how to make it a good idea. Which are the best types of actors. Yeah, he's awesome, and he's just he's like mythically creepy,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you ever see Scanners, the David Cronenberg film?
Yes.
Okay, so he check this out. Michael's the villain in that movie. And he's the cover of the like VHS and the DVD. And he was originally booked for one day on that as just the background footage of this, psych ward. And then David Cronenberg loved him so much that they kept bringing him back. And he just got like booked for another single day, like over and over again, until they were like, oh my God, the entire movie is about Michael Ironside. Isn't that crazy?
Is that not how you get a cheap leading man performance? Just keep paying him extra fees.
Yeah, just we're going to add this little scene here, and then we're going to add this little scene here.
Yeah, I think he might actually have a little bitterness about, like, being paid as like a day player on that like 20 times.
Now, your titular actress, Anissa Matlock. Anissa, is it? Yeah,
Anissa.
Yeah, from the trailer, she looks talented as hell. Now, I was looking at her IMDb earlier on, so she's done a lot of short films and that kind of thing. So, was there any piece of her work, Rob, that made you go, yeah, that's my Fran K?
You know what? Anissa's just a kid, and she just really started working. There's short films on there, but I think a lot of them are, just things she made with her friends.
Right, okay.
And she did a really bold thing. Is you can tell from the trailer she shaved her head for this, but she was one of the kids in Atlanta that was going around, auditioning. Like, we shoot a lot here. I think last summer there were more features being shot in Georgia than any place else on earth.
Wow.
Like, we shoot a lot here, and there are a lot of kids that are going out for roles. And she realized she was like, whatever, 87 of 100 young women that would be up for any given role. Yeah. And so she shaved her hair off, and that, like, and then casting directors were like, "Oh my God, it's the girl that doesn't have hair." But she started. Actors won't hear this and then shave all their hair off, but it worked for her. I mean, people couldn't see her talent. They couldn't see her talent until she did that.
That's sad.
That sucks.
Yeah, but it's the way it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's a thing about that role, though, is there were kind of two ways to cast that, and one was there's a super talented actress. I just did a Lifetime, one of those sleazy Lifetime thrillers. I don't know. You guys don't have Lifetime in Britain, but it's like
No, I don't think we do we?
We don't have them, but I know what you're on about. Yeah.
Okay, it's like a network for women to watch.
Yeah.
Like
It's yeah.
Oh, that used to be the Hallmark channel.
Hallmark still exists, but it's pretty much that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this is and they show like contained thrillers where it's like a handsome young guy seduces like a really nice older woman, and then it turns out he's like a maniac. Like, they have a lot of those movies on it, and I made one of those last summer. And there's an actress, Lauren York, who's like an up and coming actress, super talented, super beautiful. She was the other person I was considering for that part, and it became like a choice of two different flavors, and one of them was kind of like the Hollywood version of that character, and the other one was like a kind of gritty, more truthful version of that character, which was Anissa, and I decided to go with Anissa for it. So, which was the right choice, I think.
It certainly looks like it. Yeah.
So really quickly, what is it like making a movie for Lifetime? Is it just like, do you have to keep going up to your actors and say, more cheese? Come on, give me some more cheese. Camp it up.
Shatner the hell out of it.
This German producer said to me once that someone said something was cheesy, and he said, sometimes a little cheese is good. And that really, when I said that, I was like, oh yeah, it's true with food, and it's also true with, like, if you enjoy it, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm okay with a bit of cheese, to be perfectly honest.
But I'll tell you, on that Lifetime movie, like, I really wanted, like, I'm going to go full on, like, Lifetime thriller,
Nice.
And I was trying to find a gay man to be the director of photography, because I wanted, like, there's a bunch of, because they're for women, and, like, the guys are, like, super beautiful, I wanted somebody who, like, if I was like, hold on his pecs, those are like that it's not going to be like a macho cameraman who's going to, like, try to get off them quickly. I wanted, like, a camera guy that was just going to, like, stay too long on the pecs, and you'd have to.
Why not? Why not? And at any point did they try and force Jennifer Love Hewitt in the movie, because she's in a ton of those movies.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and she's beautiful. She's like amazing.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, no, it wasn't that. They that company Mar Vista, I think they make like 40 of those a year. Like, they just crank out those movies. Yeah, it's like a machine. It's literally like a machine. But it's fun to make them. Actually, it's really fun. And my DP, by the way, was not. He was. I have no idea what his sexual identity was, but he did he did an excellent job, and he heard me out.
Lawsuit there.
Yeah. I have no idea, but he did hear me out about how, like, I told him, this movie is an exercise in admiring male bodies, and it was like, the crazy director has said this thing, and I'll do it. So there was a tough moment during that movie where a really talented actor, like, he was at almost half of his scenes he didn't have a shirt on for. And he, like, asked to have a shirt on in this one scene, And I was like, is this like a weird old like 1950s sleazy producer forcing like an actress to take her top off? Like it felt like oh my god, I'm in that position with this dude, you know. And like tell him that he's really talented, but I was like, look at you know what we're making, and you're super talented, and you're also like really buff, and like on this one, you're gonna have to take your shirt off, and on the next one you won't. Like, and he was like, all right, dude, we'll do it. But it's like that. Like you have conversations like that on those sets.
You would never have that problem with Matthew McConaughey. He doesn't like keeping his shirt on.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So we'll wrap this up, Rob. Thank you very much. Tell the listeners, tell everybody who's been listening to this episode, how can they help you? Because obviously, we want to get this Fran K picked up. How can the listeners help in doing that?
Yeah, like the trailer and share the trailer for Fran K as much as you can. And if you know someone in streaming, tell them about the trailer. That's the one way that people can help by doing that. You guys have been awesome, and thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. It's been. I mean, I got to geek out about Wrong Turn for a bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's been so long since I watched that movie. It is fantastic, though. But before you go, okay. the one scene in that movie that completely sticks in my head, and it's like when I close my eyes, sometimes I can just visualize it. Is the axe through the middle of the face?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that is awesome, and
that's got to be one of the best movie deaths ever.
The first time I saw it, I shit my pants.
Yeah, I think Stan said a great thing about that. He said it's not just a cap. Decapitation, it's a half cap.
It is. It's fantastic. I love that scene. And I just want to quickly mention that.
Right on.
But this has been awesome, Rob. This has been absolutely awesome. Thank you very much for coming on the show. We'll share it about as much as possible. We'll try and get people to like and share and watch the trailer and just see what we can do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you too so much. If you need anything, just text me or whatever.
It's no worries at all, my friend. No worries.
What is up, future listener? My name is Josh.
And I'm Kevin.
And I am Michael. And we host the Second Press Podcast, that news curating podcast where us three cousins get together and make fun of the news.
We'll keep this short and sweet. You should listen to our podcast because it's funny and informative.
Exactly. We find interesting stories off the beaten path and liven up over-reported stories with our own fresh views and new takes.
Yeah, and despite being a news podcast, we are pleasantly not preachy at all.
So, search for the Second Press Podcast in your podcast aggregator of choice and give the Second Press Podcast a listen.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at Second Press Pod.
And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can explore our sexy website at www.secondpresspod.com.
We would really love for you guys to give us a listen and join our growing community.
Guys, we already love you, and because we do, we ask you, please stay out of the news.
Peace!
Don't forget, guys, if you are looking for a stylish pair of headphones that, are going to revolutionize your listening pleasures of podcasts, going to really make those ears, it's going to tickle your earbuds. You're going to be walking down the street a happy person because you've got top quality sound coming through those ears. My voice right now probably sounds nice and velvety through these damn things. You need to go to www.studio.com. Get yourself there. Use the promo code 365FLIX, all caps locks, get yourself 15% off. You're going to discover a whole new way of listening to podcasts. Hell, listening to music, in fact, it's all gravy from here. It's like you're sat in the booth with us. And who doesn't want that? Yeah, again, www.studio, S-U-D-I-O. Top quality headphones. Get yourself on there. 365FLIX. Caps lock. In the show notes to this episode, you will find a cheeky little link that will take you straight there, and all you've got to do is find the pair you want. And this promo won't last forever, so get it done. These things are style and tech, and you don't often get that in your leading brands. So episode still in progress.
So Rob,
yeah man,
yeah. That
really
awesome.
Happy with that one. And you know what, man? You made this one happen. You reached out. You made this whole thing happen. And this has been one of my favourites in a little while. I've really enjoyed this one because it's nice when you get to talk about and geek out about, like, can you call it a classic? 2003.
Oh yeah,
it is a horror classic for me. It was like one of those movies that came out of nowhere.
I feel like it's a cult as well. It's a cult movie.
Yeah,
you know, I think it's got a strong following.
It's got a cult status. Yeah.
You know what? I've never seen the other ones. I've only ever seen the first one.
I've seen two of them,
Right.
two of the other ones, and I would not recommend them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one of them, I think it was the second one, is sort of like found footage reality game show thing,
dear.
which is pants, terrible. I might be wrong, I might be misremembering that. And then I watched another one because, remember Tamer Hassan, who was a thing at one point? He made a lot of movies with Danny Dyer, like I think he was in Football Factory.
Oh, no, you mean now? Yeah.
He was in Football Factory, The Business, and all that. And he was in that in One of the Wrong Turns,
right?
As like an escaped prison convict who runs into the inbreds.
Was he a Cockney?
No, I think he was putting on an American accent.
Blimey,
didn't work. But not by far not a good enough actor to pull that off. But yeah, he was in it. So I was like, oh man, I loved watching all those movies with him and Danny Dyer. They were always fun. Not so much this one. Maybe because there was no Danny Dyer.
And no Eliza Dushku.
But yeah, man, I wouldn't necessarily recommend them.
Nah.
And I saw like 5 minutes of the latest one. Ew.
Nah.
But it's nice to hear he still gets pennies from them. Still gets his money from them because they have to repackage the DVD every time. That's pretty cool.
Just add another number to it. That'd be fine.
And how mad is that? Getting told that like your theatrical release is basically a trailer for the DVD.
You know what? After some of the shit we've heard, you know, over the last couple of years doing this, it doesn't surprise me.
And it's weird that it's not just like Zack Snyder's at the top, or Josh Tranks, whoever Ron Howard took over from. I think who was it? Whoever Ron Howard took over from.
Oh, those Lego guys.
Yeah, it's weird to hear that it's not just those guys at the top. It's right the way down. People are getting pretty much shafted.
Yeah,
it's a shame. That's not what the business should be.
That's how it goes, isn't it?
So yeah, that was Rob Schmidt. That was a fantastic interview. I love talking to him, especially about The Wrong Turn and The Alphabet Killer and upcoming Fran K. Please do your utmost best to watch the trailer, share the trailer, put it around, let everyone know. And if you do know someone in the industry, get it done. Just tell them. Just say, look, have a look at this. It's awesome. And Chris and Kev said.
Chris and Kev said,
yeah. Because we send people everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're done?
Done.
113? Done.
Boosh.